welcome back to another episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. We're all here. Ben's back.
Welcome back, Ben.
Hi,
He's back.
I lost my seat next to Amanda, but I have Joe now.
I'll make you louder than everyone else.
Thank you.
Challenge accepted.
And you've changed the room. A lot's changed.
A lot has changed, but we haven't.
No.
No, you're all as lovely as ever. Hello, everybody. Thank you.
All right, and so
I meant to tell you a month ago I like your haircut.
Thank you. It's a little long now, but
Cool.
thank you.
So, all right. So this week we're kind of
I
continuing
got a
our
haircut
discussion.
too.
I like your haircut. And I especially like how you're keeping your beard nice and rich.
This is the playoff beard for the Rangers. It has not been trimmed since the beginning of the postseason.
Oh, shit, it looks
I didn't
really
know
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
not
cool.
even touched. I mean, I brush it.
Is there a reason like
Superstition.
It's a superstition. You just you grow playoff beards.
Yeah, it's like how Jay-Z doesn't cut his hair until after he finished an album.
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
like a lot of his old music videos for like the first single would be like him in a barbershop getting it cut because he let it go out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You have like the Captain Pike beard from Star Trek Strange New Worlds right before he goes back to the Enterprise.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you should. And it's a nice counterbalance to Joe's very neat, very put together beard and look.
Strategic.
Mm.
You guys got to grow out your beards now.
yeah.
She said I'm trying.
It won't come in.
I understand.
What are we talking about today, Amanda?
So we're going to continue our discussion and be a little bit more broad this week in our talk about Pride. It's Pride Month. We're celebrating all things LGBTQ+. And we're going to talk about some of our favorite media, some of our favorite characters from all over the spectrum. So I'll pass it to Simona to get us started.
Okay, so two characters that I really love are Runan and Ithari, and they're from Netflix animated series The Dragon Prince, which so far has 3 seasons. The 4th has been confirmed. When it's coming out, we don't know. But they're moon shadow elves. Runan is the assassin. Ithari is more of like the metal worker, smith. And the last season they were separated, and this is spoilers, by the way. Spoilers abound. And Ithari believes that Runan is dead, but hopefully they reunite him in season 4. And
Do you think Runan is dead, or do you think...
I don't know. I don't
think
believe
Runan's
that
alive?
he is. Basically, the big bad sort of sealed his soul in a gold coin
It happens.
because he wouldn't reveal the secret of, I think, elven magic or something like that. But the cool thing about this show was that the end credit scenes always had a clue about what would be following up. So there was a big thing among the fandom when they, and this is Ithari. I'm sorry.
She's
over
got,
here.
a visual, she's got a visual aid.
Runan, I got a visual aid.
What is this show called again?
It's called The Dragon Prince.
I think it's done by the same
I've seen
studio that
season
did
1.
Avatar.
Yeah,
I think.
yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Or
I didn't know
Voltron.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great animated, and in terms of if you want something with a lot of representation, this cartoon has it. And there was a post-credit scene where Ithari is there and he's crying over this pond that has this magical lotus that's like sinking, and before I'm making it sound a lot worse than real. Basically, before the Moon Shadow elves left on their assassination mission, Ithari gives each of them this magical lotus, and essentially, when an elf passes away, the lotus sinks, and that's how he knows that this person has died. But the thing is that the light hasn't gone out in Runan's lotus. So, which leads you to believe, you're all looking at me like I'm strange. It leads you to believe that he's alive.
Don't worry, this is going to be a really intense conversation.
Yes, so season 4. I hope they're reunited.
So
'cause I love them
Runan's
so.
light is still on.
Yes.
That's why you think he's still alive.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah. And then the flashback scene, there was such a cute moment between the two of them, and I really want them to get back together in season 4.
Wait, they weren't together in season 3?
Basically, there's a flashback scene before Runan left on his mission. Ithari hands each of them their lotuses, and he goes, "My heart goes with this one." And then Runan says, "I will return your heart to you." And then they kiss, and then he goes away. And I'm like, oh my god, they need to be season 4.
Isn't season 4 very soon?
I hope so. I don't know. Like, for the longest time, I wasn't even sure if season 4 was even happening.
No, it's like an upcoming list of Netflix things, and it's very soon. I feel like it's like Virgin River and Dragon Prince are coming out in like the summertime.
Hope so, because I'm really excited. Yes, they're my first couple.
That might not be true, but
I know Dragon Prince got a delay, but
because Netflix is tanking all its animation.
they
heard
always
about that.
have, and they
Netflix is just tanking everything
That's
nowadays.
where anime.
so-
That's where anime series go to die.
Yeah.
Well, Castlevania was anyway. That's a different topic.
Well,
Not
Castlevania is sick.
Yes, it's
I
amazing.
love Castlevania.
They actually completed a series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very amazing.
Well, I have high hopes. Yeah, and I love these two characters, but in terms of representation, it's incredible in terms of representation. So it's really good.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay. So, I love Schitt's Creek. It's a great,
Nice.
Are you gonna bring up?
it's a great comedy series, and I love David. David is my favorite character in that entire series.
He's the best.
I
And
love-
David and Patrick are the best.
I know, but I didn't really look at this as like my favorite couples. I just looked at this as my favorite represented
Yes.
character, and I really like Daniel Levy. I think he's hysterical, and if not more funny than his father Eugene Levy. But yeah, the entire character is heartwarming. I laugh every time he comes onto the screen. I don't know how else to describe.
He's a very cynical, very sarcastic, but it fits his
Cynical.
whole personality, and he plays it so well, and that's
His
why I love
humor
him.
is very dry, and I love the sarcastic, dry humor.
I also like he's the smartest person in the family.
Yeah.
And that show has like a Ted Lasso thing about it where they're all ultimately incredibly good people who are just trying to do right
Yeah.
by and I do. I've only seen 2 seasons, but I love
Yeah.
those 2 seasons.
A friend of mine made us watch it, and so we were like, ugh, at first.
Yeah,
but then,
same.
like,
That's how I felt.
we started getting more into it, and it got better and better, and it's just the character growth between everybody, but David especially. David and his sister are are so fun to see because they're just figuring themselves out. David kind of already knows himself, which is kind of great because he's already lived on his own and done things on his own, but he's also relied on the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of interesting to see how they all kind of grow up on that. And Patrick is the best boyfriend in the world. And when he sang that song the first time, I cried. I was like, oh my God, he's got such a pretty voice.
Or even when David did the, is it Tina Turner? When he does the Tina Turner dance for him. I loved that scene. I was like, that's perfect.
I love Patrick. I love how he matched David so well. I love them. They're like one of the best like LGBT couples I've seen in a show for myself.
Couple
And I love-
goals.
Couple goals, exactly. I was like, oh, Patrick's perfect. He fixed lights. He makes food. And he's just so nice. I'm just like, you're not real.
That's setting the standard, the fixing the
I
lights.
was going to
got
say,
it now.
that's all it takes for
He's setting a
Amanda.
really high standard right now.
Change a light bulb.
Singing songs in a beautiful voice. And I was just like, I had to go online. I'm like, is this guy a singer? I was like, no, he's not.
And actually, what's nice about, one of the nice things about that scene is when he's singing, even Moira's like I
My
forget
son's
who's
getting
talking to her.
serenaded.
Exactly, yeah. Like, even her, the most self-obsessed person, is just like, let me enjoy this beautiful moment that my child is having right now.
Yeah, it was gut-wrenching,
Yeah.
but
It had me.
yeah. So that's my first favorite character. Yeah.
Cool, that's a good one.
Thank you.
That's tough to follow.
It's beautiful.
But somebody has to, so I guess it'll be me.
It's up to you, only you.
I'm going to bring up Booksmart, directed by Olivia Wilde, who I think is a genius. It's it's not only a good representation of the LGBTQ community, but I think it's just a cool representation of teenagers, because every TV show and movie, it's like, oh, the stereotypical person, but they're really not a stereotype because there's something deeper going on. This one did that in such like a subtle way that I didn't see coming. I liked it so much. I saw it in theaters, I think 3 times. I mean, I was also trying to if Olivia Wilde came in, I would just give her my money. But just a really, really, just a really good movie about teenagers and how maybe people aren't always what they seem to be, and it's a really, really good movie. I highly recommend that one.
Caitlin Dever rocks in that movie.
Yeah,
no, she's awesome.
She's great. The only part I have a tough time watching, and I feel myself gagging a little bit right now, is when she's hooking up with Diana Severs or something. I don't know if that's her name, but she goes to get a drink of water, and it's actually like cigarette butts being put out in water, and she takes a huge gulp of it and then throws up all over her date.
That'll do that. That'll do it.
Yeah, it was like.
Is it really an end of high school comedy if there is no vomit?
Right?
Like,
it's kind of like I don't know what anyone else's. I would say my high school experience was like that. I don't know what anyone else's college experience was like, but that moment, like I feel like has happened. You know what I mean? Like not to me, but like I feel like I've been there where like you go to reach for a cup and you're like, wow, that's the cup where everyone is ashing in, or that's the cup where. That's the cup where they're putting the dirty water from beer pong. You know what I mean? And you just don't take a sip. But I feel like I've been in that situation. Luckily, I haven't taken the sip. But great movie. And
if you needed to throw up, that would be the perfect thing to take.
And her next movie looks
unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm very much
looks
looking forward
awesome.
to it. Yeah.
And you can just tell she's flat out like throwing her middle finger up at the MPAA. She's like, oh, you want to give hard ratings for female pleasure?
Yeah.
Well, here's a trailer of everyone going down on Florence.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it looks terrifying, and Chris Pine looks like top of the game. I cannot wait. September is such a long time away.
Yeah. And Harry Styles looks like a very good actor. I didn't even realize that was him in Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And then, so now I'm glad to see him getting some good roles.
Isn't he going to be? Isn't he in the Marvel movies too?
Yeah, he showed up at the end of
Thanos' brother,
Yeah.
Starfox.
He
I
showed
think
up
his
with
name
Walt.
is. Yeah, it's really silly.
He
But.
showed up with Patton Oswalt as as an elf or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, Booksmart, check it out, guys.
Great movie.
Yeah.
In the words of Katie.
Insane soundtrack.
Yes.
Too.
Great
sorry.
soundtrack. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moonlight.
Moonlight's.
Amazing.
That's
One of the best of the
that's a heavy one.
decade.
Moonlight.
Yeah.
I've never been so scared in a movie ever than the last 20 minutes of Moonlight, where I'm just gripping the table going, please let something go right for these two.
Yeah.
Let something good happen. Terrified that something was going to go horribly wrong, a miscommunication. Then he says, like, you're the only man that ever touched me. And all of a sudden it's like everything melts and you're just really happy. And it's gorgeous. Barry Jenkins is this absolutely treasure of a director who everything, Underground Railroad, If Beale Street Could Talk.
Oh yeah,
Moonlight.
That was great.
He's so inspired by like Wong Kar-wai, and you can sort of see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought about that, but yes, of course.
But he's also taken it to the next level. So he's not just like riffing. He's like
yeah,
evolved the style.
He's really engaging with it, and like I think about the dinner Kevin cooks for Chiron so much. That is such a beautiful, beautiful scene.
Well, that's where the fear in my gut grew, and I was like, "This is something's going to go terribly wrong." This just feels like, and when everything just goes right, like I was shaken by the end. I was so. Have you all seen it?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God.
It's such a great movie.
Yeah, it's really it's intense. Yeah.
But so, is it Tom Ford? Who's the other director? Where, like, he actually, it's us thinking bad things are going to happen, but he's just telling a story where, it's just perfectly normal little story, and our conditioning through society about, watching LGBTQ people on screen, it's always like they're there for a reason or something bad's going to happen to them. It's like what's going to make the story move forward. There's like an attack, or there's like some, where he's just like, nah, we're here, and it's just a normal story. We're not going to point out anything unique. This just gets to be a romantic, beautiful story right up there with your La La Lands, and it beat La La Land
Good.
for
And that's
the
how
Oscar.
it should be.
Yeah.
Right up there, yeah. And it's just, should be at the top 10 of everyone's movie list ever.
Yeah.
Is it Joe's turn now?
All right.
That's the last time.
I'm going to take Amanda's place and kick this off by recommending an anime. And,
What are you gonna do?
yeah, so I'm going with Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, no.
I just got the collector's edition of the manga series. So
It's a classic 90s anime, and it is sort of, I guess, a riff on the magical girl genre, but very different, and it really engages a lot with like gender roles and sexuality in very interesting ways, and it works in such interesting philosophy. But more or less, it's about a girl, Utena. When she was young, she lost both her parents, and she had this encounter with a prince. And from that moment on, she decided, I want to be a prince. Like that's sort of the archetype she models her life after.
So her
And-
outfit is very different from everybody else.
yeah, she wears the boy's
academy.
outfit.
Yeah.
And more or less, she ends up like sort of uncovering this weird sort of like secret society at her academy, where these guys are all battling, like dueling for control of the Rose Bride, who's this poor girl Anthe, who's just being pushed around between all these guys, and Utena sort of makes it her goal to protect Anthe. But it's such a beautiful show. It's done by Ikuhara, who worked a lot on Sailor Moon, so he sort of like takes all of his years on that and makes it something new, something way fresher, something way more open-minded, and yeah, just really a beautiful show. Such great characters in it. It does a beautiful thing where very gradually you get to know all of the background characters, and like even people who are just like seemingly decoration at first, you're like, whoa, okay, there's a lot going on here.
It's really hard for any show, to have such a wide array of characters and be able to give everybody like the screen time or like the love that they deserve. But Utena really took its time as far as the anime was concerned. The manga is very short. It's only like a couple volumes.
I think the manga came after the anime too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And they
yeah.
even changed one character, because in the anime no one is straight. Everyone's bisexual. Canonically, everyone is bisexual. And so that's why you have Utena, who, like, was the prince, changes her identity, and goes after the princess, stuff like that. You also have a lot of the male, the men who keep going after the Rose Princess. They all have kind of like moments with each other, which are like, you're like, hold on. It makes you like, hold up. It's like, it's a good hold up.
Oh yeah, no, everything's very fluid in the show.
Very
and
flamboyant, very colorful.
It does a lot to sort of smash archetypes, and that's the biggest thing on its mind, is like structures of power and how archetypes are used to control people. But yeah, just a masterful show. I can't recommend
It drew
it enough.
a lot of good inspiration from like Osamu Tezuka's Princess Knight when that came out, and it is getting a reprint, and I have requested us to get it because it's a great story from way back in the like early 60s. Osamu Tezuka, the creator of Astro Boy, created a multitude of different works, and one of them was Princess Knight, where it's a princess who refuses to kind of adhere to her princess self and disguises herself as a knight and goes around saving the day. And so there's a lot of inspiration from that. There's a lot of inspiration taken from like Sailor Moon, especially since the magical girl genre was still kind of going up. Sailor Moon itself was like such a big like LGBT cultural icon as well, by trying to break the mold of lots of things. So Utena, I absolutely.
And I will say, I've made it sound quite dour. It's not. It's also a very funny show. Utena is just like a perfect dumb jock. She's so cool. There's a lot of scenes of just her killing at basketball, and it's like, hell yeah. But yeah, and there's a really funny shadow puppet Greek theater, a Greek chorus in it. And yeah, no, it's a goofy time too. But yeah, great show. And the movie goes nuts. The movie is like, think of like
0 to 10,
Fire
like-
Walk with Me's relation to Twin Peaks. It takes everything to an entirely different level. And all right,
No, you're
Amanda.
good. So I'm gonna take a note out of Joe's book too, and I'm gonna go with an anime, Neon Genesis Evangelion. And a lot of people don't accredit it mostly, but there are 2 characters, if not like 3 potentially, who are huge. I'm a shipper. I'm a person who likes to ship characters, and everyone.
What
can
does
fight
that
me.
mean?
It means I put together 2 people who I think deserve to be in a relationship.
Oh,
based,
okay.
Yeah,
based,
Okay.
It's
based
from
on their
relationship. It took me forever to realize that.
Got it. I
So-
thought you meant like you wanted to put them on a ship or something.
I mean, I do want the ship to sail, but you know, Lewis.
That's another
Like-
thing.
Wait, anybody
does.
else see The Master?
Yes.
Yeah, that scene at the end when Philip Seymour Hoffman sings to Joaquin, "I want to get you on a slow boat to China."
But that's he was really in love with Joaquin.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
There's no other way to read that. Like,
Cool. I was thinking like I knew he. I swear he was in love with him.
yeah.
What do you mean he wants to get rid of him?
My favorite character, I actually have the jacket of his uniform with me today, is a character named Kaoru Nagisa. And Kaoru Nagisa in Evangelion is not a real human. He is basically a humanoid, what's called an angel, throughout the series. And these angels keep trying to destroy Earth, and Shinji, the main character's father, keeps, trying to destroy them to bring about, the next coming of God, essentially. But throughout the entire series, Shinji is kind of met with a lot of decisions that he has to kind of grow up and make for himself. So he's got to learn throughout this entire series. But, he has 2 women with him, and he kind of confuses his, how he feels about them the entire time. You have Rei, who's kind of this emotionalist, blue-haired pilot who really likes his dad. And it's weird because this is a spoiler thing. Rei turns out to be like a clone of Shinji's mom. So it's kind of weird towards the end when you're like, oh, he might have had a crush on his mom. But he doesn't, and it's cool. Then you have the German Asuka, who is a brat. And honestly, she's a great character, but I do not like her, and people can fight me on it. Fight me? Okay,
I don't
fight
know.
me.
It's
Come
one
at
of the
me.
best parts of the show.
She's great, but she is such a bitch. Sorry, I hate her.
She's a child soldier.
And when you
Cut
get to
some
her
slack.
backstory and you find out some stuff about her and you're just kind of like, I want to sympathize, but you're still being such a bitch. But, Shinji at one point does an unspeakable thing with her, and even then he doesn't really know how to.
What's
He's
the
never
unspeakable
happy.
thing?
I'm not going to
Let's
talk
not
about
go
it on
into
cast.
that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
really?
Yeah,
Oh.
No.
It's just...
It's a 2-minute scene, but I'm not about to go into it.
now we know
But
what
he's
it
still
is.
kind of, he lives with her too.
You can
And
just look it up.
they have to build a semi work relationship with each other. And Shinji kind of feels maybe he likes her and maybe doesn't, but he's still very confused about how he feels. But all the time he's super depressed. But when he meets Nagisa Kaoru, who tells him right off the bat that he's been looking for him and that he was made for him. He was made to love him.
Aww.
Exactly. Aww. Shinji is the happiest when he is with Kaoru because Kaoru adores him. Whether it's his makeup of the angel and them trying to infiltrate whatever it needs to do. Nagisa in all aspects, even the movies, beautiful scene. He only lives for Shinji. He cares so deeply, and every time Shinji is near Kaoru, he smiles. Considering the show is as depressing as it is, Shinji smiles. Only with Kaoru. And it makes me cry every time when he dies. He dies twice. That is the character, the silver-haired character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's very stylish, too. I'm not gonna lie, he's very stylish. He's very aloof, very mysterious. But for some reason, Shinji undoubtedly trusts him
I do
with
want
everything.
to emphasize that everything with Kaoru happens in one episode.
2. There's 2 things.
No, he's only in one episode.
He's in the movies, too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's in
Yeah.
one episode of the original series, and
Yeah.
it's just astonishing. You're just like, what is going on?
Well,
I'm watching
it's
an
funny.
entire arc right now.
Yeah, so he ends up only showing up for maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and then he gets smushed. Shinji has to kill him, so he smushes him. in one of the most dramatic scenes because the
Yeah, it
animation
holds
budget
on it
failed
for like
during
a,
Ava.
for like a full minute.
Because the animation budget, they were running out of money. And so they had to elongate an entire scene where Shinji's in the robot holding him there.
I'm a big fan of late Ava when they start getting real weird with it.
Yes. So he smushes him there, but in the movies, which is a separate timeline, he sacrifices his life. Shinji makes a bad decision, and it ultimately costs Kaoru's life and his head. And it makes me cry every time I hear those words. But to see that even in the end of Ava, which the new movie, the end of Evangelion, you know, he kind of looks back fondly on his memories of Kaoru, and it's the one thing that makes him smile the most. And I'm just like, ultimate couple. I'm like, I love tragic romances, but it's on my top there, and it hurts my soul. And I love that boy. There's another character, but I really won't go into it because the manga came afterwards, and so. But that's the main one, is Kaoru. Kaoru's best boy. So, pass it to you.
Okay. I'm also going to discuss an anime. Following along. So, mine is from Sailor Moon. So it's Haruka and Michiru from the Sailor Moon animated series. And there's
Wait, Simona, what? They're cousins. What are you talking about?
Stop it right now! You stop that right now!
In the American dub, they turn these
Oh, of course
characters
they
into
are.
cousins.
in
and-
Mexico, I think they made them siblings, which I guess is okay. I mean,
course
if you
they
give
did.
your
Look, they
siblings
didn't
very
know what to
romantic,
do.
longing looks. I remember when I watched this anime, I was like, huh.
They're
I'm like,
kissing cousins.
well, actually, I watched it in Japanese. So in Japanese, they were very honest with what they're not cousins.
Yeah.
But they're very adorable together. I love Haruka and Michiru also because they're very badass. And they're very aloof. Like when they first show up on the scene, they don't want anything to do with the other Sailor Scouts. I think they think they're beneath them.
To be
But-
fair, they're some of the most beautiful ones that I'd personally be conceited to.
Yeah. And everyone assumes that Haruka is a boy because she presents herself in a very kind of masculine way. And she sort of doesn't do anything to dispel that belief. She kind of enjoys it.
She's a princely character.
Yeah, but eventually they figure it out. The one thing I never understood about the whole Sailor Moon anime, maybe Amanda can answer this for me, is how no one knows who anyone is when they're not wearing masks. They're not changing hairstyles.
That's just
all
a
they're
trope
doing
in
is
anything.
putting us. Yeah, but it's like
It's
who
like
are they?
Superman. It's like Superman puts on a pair of glasses, and all of a sudden it's like, where did he go? He could do that in a crowd, and they'd be like, what was this?
In defense of that, Henry Cavill, before Batman vs. Superman opened, walked through Times Square with his shirt half unbuttoned and a Superman logo and his glasses on, and nobody recognized him.
They're like, oh, weirdo.
This is nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's-
Comic-Con
yeah.
here again.
Who is also gigantic.
So yeah, that's my second couple.
So it's my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay. So one of my other favorite characters is this character. His name is Thomas. He's from Downton Abbey. I love Downton Abbey.
Did you see the newest movie?
I haven't seen it
I've
yet.
been getting really hyped.
I
when
really
see the
need to
trailers
see it.
for
Especially if you love Thomas.
Does he finally get vindicated?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. So
Sorry.
I would think like when you
Little
first
dashboard confessional, huh?
Spider-Man, come back.
The Thomas is downstairs staff in Downton Abbey, and he is homosexual in a time where being homosexual was a crime. If anyone found out about it, you were arrested and sent to jail. And he's a very cynical character. He thinks he's arrogant as well. He thinks like he's owed in the world for all of his time of service, not only with the Crawleys, but also when he served in World War I. And he's like the kind of character like you love to hate. I love to hate Thomas. But then there's other parts as you keep going within the series of Downton Abbey that he kind of like redeems himself.
He has an incredible character arc throughout the series.
He does. He ends up redeeming himself by the end of the series. And I feel like the reason why he is the way he is because he can't be who he wants to be, at least out in the open.
It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. And the actor who plays Thomas plays him so well, and so like you believe everything that he does and everything he feels, and he's just a great character. Yeah.
He withholds a lot, and you can
He
does
does.
that where you can feel like it's simmering underneath his eyes, and
Oh yeah. Especially when he's talking to the butler. I don't remember his name, which is really terrible.
Carson.
Carson,
Yeah.
thank you. Especially when he talks to Carson, and Carson's like talking down to Thomas, and it's like you can see it's in his eyes, but nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. It's just beautifully played.
You need to run out after this podcast and go see that movie.
Well, I have a 2-week vacation coming up next week, so
All
You
right.
know what she's going to be doing.
yeah.
Enjoy.
Downton Abbey every day.
Get really rowdy in the screening.
24/7.
I've already gotten requests to buy the movie, to buy the DVD from several people that we work
I
with.
thought we had it.
It's just
No,
a brand
the
new movie.
movie
There's-
just came out, yeah.
Oh, a
there's
new
there's
one.
another movie.
Downton Abbey, a new era.
And now
Oh, the
there's
new era, the
newest
one with
movie.
what's her name? In
This
it? I keep
movie,
forgetting her name.
I liked the last movie.
Yeah.
And it felt like 2 silly episodes of Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
This movie leaves it so far behind.
Oh, really?
It's an actual great movie, not just if you like Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Are you back in the theaters now?
I went to my first movie
Yeah.
I saw Downton Abbey
How
Yeah.
was it?
because I wouldn't have been the movie I chose, but I love it.
Yeah.
So I went with it.
You haven't seen Top Gun yet?
I haven't seen Top Gun. I haven't seen Doctor Strange. I haven't seen The Northman. I have not seen.
Northman's so cool.
I saw
wanna
it too.
see the
I
I
Northman.
liked
haven't
it.
seen the
Crazy.
Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh, I want
haven't
to see that one so bad.
I haven't seen Bob's Burgers.
I
haven't
can wait
seen
for that
anything.
to not be in theaters.
Interesting. I think, just curious, what do you guys think I'm going to talk about next?
Top Gun?
No.
Is there? Yeah.
I mean, the Top Gun volleyball scene is probably fair game.
It is.
Yeah.
It is pretty erotic.
So's 300.
I saw an amazing Tony Scott
Heck.
interview where he was just like, that scene was voted number one scene of all time by Suck Magazine 3 years in a row.
Is that an actual magazine?
Yeah, I
Wow.
guess so. Yeah,
We're gonna find out.
I might have to cut that out, but you know.
No, I don't think you have to cut that out.
It is
Wow.
legit.
I was gonna say, Euphoria, of course,
Uh-huh.
but I'll talk about that on the next go around, because I'll bring up what I was gonna talk about later because it kind of goes into what Katie was saying. I know Joe has seen it. I don't know about anybody else, but any Mad Men fans in here?
Yes.
I want to
Yeah.
watch
Seen
it.
yet.
I love Mad Men.
Yeah.
God.
I'm
Who
gonna
are you
talk
gonna talk about?
Sal Romano.
It's
Yeah.
Sal.
I loved
God.
Sal. And, what's great about Sal is that I think he definitely knows he's gay.
Yeah,
Um,
no, like that scene where like the European dude,
Yeah.
like just casually mentions like I'm a homosexual, and
Yes.
like everyone's sort of like what?
Yeah.
You can see Sal kind of just looks gutted. Like
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah. Like how that guy can just come out and say it. And Sal, you could tell this is something he struggled with his entire life. And it's interesting because in the very first episode, I forget what they're talking about, but Sal, also whoever directed it was probably Matt Weiner, the first episode, but he's very poignant in how he places the camera and who he places it on and the way he places the camera. But somebody says something about actors or something like that, and Sal goes, camera cuts to Sal, and he goes, "Can you imagine somebody pretending to be somebody else for their entire life?" And it's a very poignant part because obviously you watching it, you know that he is. You just at that point you don't know if he knows. You eventually find out that he does know. There's a scene in I think it's season 2 where the main character Don catches him in the act.
That's beginning of 3.
It's the beginning of
Yeah.
3. Okay, he catches him in the act. Kind of brushes past it. Don is very. There's a lot of references to Atlas Shrugged, very Ayn Rand. If it doesn't affect business, he doesn't really care.
Just tells him to limit your exposure.
Yeah, do what you want to do, but keep it where it's got to be kept. So all this kind of comes to a head. So at that moment when that happens, you kind of think Sal's in the clear. You're like, maybe he can start feeling more comfortable. Maybe he can start being himself. And then the creep from Lucky Strike Cigarette hits on him. Sal's just not interested. And Sal gets canned. And so, you know...
Don has a... when Don sort of betrays him there, that is... God. That's one of the most frustrating scenes.
Yeah, and it's gutting, because you really thought... When Don kind of like brushes it off in the beginning of season 3, you think, wow, okay, maybe Don is kind of just cool. Like, he doesn't... Like, that's not a big deal to him. But like I said, if you get in the way of business, that is the difference. And it's a really tough scene, but it's also, you know, kind of representative of what that community was going through back in those days. You know, really, it could cost you your job, it could cost you your livelihood, and it did. And you never see Sal again, which I thought he was going to come back at some point.
I know they even bring back like Paul for an episode, but Sal just. Into the ether, and that makes it even more upsetting. You're just like, God, what happened?
And Kinsey turned into a freak. He turned into one of those Hare Krishna people.
The episode where
like
Kinsey comes back is one of the funniest things. Where he writes like a Star Trek episode.
Oh man, yeah. So that was so Sal Romano, easily one of the best characters in Mad Men, and then is just kind of unceremoniously booted because of his orientation. Yeah. Great show in general, by the way. So if you guys haven't seen it,
one of the best.
It's going to make you want to drink and smoke the entire time, though. So just and in a suit, of course.
So basically, grab a beer before I watch the show.
No, you're going to want to grab like a whiskey. Something a little harder than that.
Good.
Nothing
Good.
like a really great movie or TV experience where you're like, I got to
a
pause
whiskey.
this and I need a beer.
Yeah.
Pause. They're drinking.
So I have 2 more, so hopefully we'll have time for another round. But I have to say, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I had an old friend of mine who, you know, Carmel, we're here in Carmel, Mayapack. It was, especially in the 90s, not the most progressive area. And
even
one
nowadays,
of my friends
maybe.
who not quite there yet either, but like closer. But back in the 90s, you know, I had like, we all had a friend that we knew, but no one said anything. And years later, when I bumped into him at a party, like not really a reunion, but just a party through a mutual friend, we were all talking movies, and he's credited Romeo and Juliet as the movie that made him realize that he wasn't alone. And he was talking about the Mercutio scene.
The one where
at
he
the party,
cross-dresses?
and how like he felt like that. He said he knew it was like out there, but he had never gone anywhere. Carmel was a very like insular town, and it was very much one way, very straight, very white.
Yeah.
And so that was his moment. And
that's really nice.
When he graduated, he got out of Dodge, went to California. I hadn't seen him in years and years and years, and he came back and was just
good for
got
him.
to be fully who he was. And he said it was Romeo and Juliet, and that was the one. And it was Mercutio, and Mercutio. That's
He's
such
the best character of the entire.
and that's such a gorgeous scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Romeo and Juliet. Thanks for saving my friend.
Yeah. Speaking of Baz Luhrmann, real quick, anybody actually interested in the Elvis
Yes.
movie?
10
Really?
times yes.
I think it might
Yes.
be insane. I hated it at first, and now I've been seeing the trailers, and I'm like, you know what?
Same.
I gotta
Yeah.
I was
see
like,
Tom
this is
Hanks
weird.
chew on this voice for 2 hours. I gotta hear him say, "We are two lonely children reaching toward eternity."
Wait, is that Elvis trailer or the Pinocchio trailer?
Coincidentally.
I hope he does the voice in Pinocchio too. You know what's really messed up? I looked up a video of the real Colonel Tom Parker. Dude doesn't even have an accent. Tom Hanks pulled this out of nowhere.
It's just Tom Hanks. He said,
Just don't sound like Tom Hanks, is what he said.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of hyped for it.
Yeah?
Me and my mom used to watch all the
maybe I'll give
Elvis
it a shot.
movies.
It's Baz Luhrmann.
Someone's
His
had it.
movie, Great Gatsby is an experience. It's a straight
That's
up
true.
It's
Yeah.
an unbelievable visual experience.
It's got everything to do with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just I'm
That's
the
a great
biopics.
line.
I'm just tired of the biopics. I'm tired of.
I understand
yeah.
that. Yeah, I can't
It's a mixed
fault
bag
that.
with biopics.
But
too.
Austin Butler has played 2 historically accurate characters in a row now.
What was
Yeah,
the
he
other
did
one?
Tex and
Charlie Manson's
one-
henchman.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I do
He was
remember
real as a donut, mother. Beep.
Amazing scene.
that. Yeah.
God. All right, this pick's gonna seem weird, but hear me out. I was thinking about this because Katie mentioned a sitcom earlier,
Ooh.
but Always Sunny. So for a long time, they just treat Mac sort of being clueless about his sexuality as a gag, and then finally comes like a. I
Well,
think
because
it's
he's a
like
Christian and he
season-
won't accept the
Yeah.
fact that he's gay.
I think it's like season like 10 or
Oh, the
11. It's
prison
real
dance scene?
deep. But I'm gonna get to that
Sorry.
in a second. But then he finally comes out and he stays out, and it's like whoa, and it's a heartwarming moment.
Yeah.
But then like a season or 2 later, there's an episode called Mac Finds His Pride. And in it, he's trying to make his father, who's like a convict, and all
He wants to
around
come
him,
out to his dad.
and understand who he is. And for whatever reason, Frank kind of teams up with him for the episode, even though
course.
Frank's like being homophobic the whole time.
Yeah.
God.
But it ends on like this astonishing interpretive dance sequence that you would never
so
expect
unlike
to show.
It's Always Sunny. It never
like-
ended in a gag. It was literally just a
yeah,
serious
no,
moment.
it's
and
treated
you're like,
entirely seriously, and it's just astonishing. And there's so much real pain in it, and you're just watching it in awe. Like at the end of it, during the performance, like Mac's dad just storms out, but then at the end of it, it cuts to Frank, and he's just like, "I get it now."
Yeah.
It's just a really powerful.
it's a very
scene.
unconventional, very almost uncomfortable because you're so used to them being such like
Yeah,
scumbags
it
the
is-
entire time, racist, homophobic, anything that they can be, and it's like they don't realize it. But then you get the one serious episode, and you're like, hold up. It like almost makes you feel like, wait, this isn't Always Sunny.
Yeah, it's
unlike-
really powerful though. I gotta commend it.
It was,
So-
yeah. It definitely stood out, and you were just like, oh. So, I guess I'll go, and since we're running low on time, I'll just name 3 characters, and then I'll save my last bit for the next come around for 2 seconds. So, I'm focusing mainly on anime characters because they're the people who tend to be like, I love character writing, and it can be hard for animated shows to really like figure out their place and like write characters without having to blatantly like say things that make them that's their character. My favorite anime of all time, Madoka Magica, has a character named Homura, and I absolutely love her because she is the ultimate version of love gone wrong. She basically is a magical girl who has the power to go back in time, and she uses that to go back in time to save her best friend, ultimately making her friend suffer multiple timelines and her suffering as well, turning her friend into God, where she can no longer reach her anymore. Eventually, she becomes a demon because all she wants, she's the only one who knows about her in the end. So she basically becomes a demon and pulls God out of her sky and traps her forever because she wants to be the only one who knows her. And it starts off as like a cute, beautiful friendship where they're all supportive, and then it just gets darker and darker and darker as it keeps going on, and you discover more and more and more. There's 2 lesbian couples in the show, or potential lesbian couples in the show. One was left kind of, but she's the ultimate one in this whole thing, considering it's her show. Absolutely love the dark take on love. I'm not a fan of fluffy love. I'm a fan of dark, struggling. I want to watch people struggle. So she's definitely an embodiment of struggle.
We might have to have a whole like psychiatry episode about
I'm just
why
tired of
that
fluffy.
is.
I like fluffy sometimes, but not always. Next one I'll say is from Attack on Titan, the character Ymir. She's also a person who suffers, but what starts off as her watching this one girl because of, she has a mission and she has to catch her for a reason for the other side, turns into self-sacrifice for this person to help her escape. And, as I said, she's a person who suffered, and when she finally feels free, she still feels that she has to go back and she learns a secret, and instead of selling the secret, she decides to protect the person and ultimately sacrifices herself for her. And I think that's a beautiful scene. I love her to death. I'm sad that she had to go so soon, but there's that. And also, last one, you can watch it on Netflix right now. It's called Devilman Crybaby. It is very graphic, so I will put that warning out there. But one of the two main characters, his name is Rio. Rio is basically Satan, who is an androgynous individual who has both a woman's body and a male's body. But he's basically Satan, who is trying to bring demon and hell to earth because God wronged him, and his love is probably the most powerful demon in all of hell, and he tries to get him on his side. But ultimately, he's just kind of a a-hole throughout the entire thing. But I love this guy. He's just crazy and nuts, and he's smart, and he's rich, and
That just made me think of South
stupid.
Park with Satan and is it Saddam Hussein?
Saddam Hussein. So I'll leave that one there.
All the 2000s.
I enjoy him. He's crazy. I also think that he's got a weird way of showing how he likes people, which is murder.
Oh,
So there's that. He just wants to watch the world burn while also being with the only person who ever really truly understood him and saw
Couple
that
goals.
he was crying on the inside as a child, and so he was like, wow, this kid's weird. I like him. So
Couple goals.
couples goals. So I'll leave my things at that, and I'll leave my last one for the last.
All right, I'm just gonna read through since I want to make sure everyone has time. So Waverly
We can
and
go a little longer. We started a little late, so.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
How dare you?
damn it, Ben. Believable.
so Waverly and Nicole from the sci-fi original series Winona Earp. And I also had Nick and Charlie from Heartstopper, which when will the episode be up for Heartstopper?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow you get to watch
well,
that
A week
episode.
ago at this point.
There's
but-
another episode.
Yeah.
Was there another episode?
No.
What happened?
Oh, you said another episode, and I was like, oh, podcast episode. I was like, is this like tomorrow? There's another episode I didn't know about.
You were ready to jump all over Simona there, Amanda.
What?
And I just have one more, and that's it. And then it's Danny and Jamie from The Haunting of Bly Manor,
Aw.
which we also did an episode on that for the Caffeinated Librarians, so if you haven't checked it out. They're a
was
tragic
so
couple, but I love them so much, and that's my final couple.
You guys
Yeah.
did one on Winona Earp too, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that one, the Haunting of Bly Manor, that was tough
Yeah.
I love
because
it.
you really thought that they were gonna like live happily ever after,
Yeah.
and then no, of
Yeah.
course not.
Never.
That was tough.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had never seen any Mike Flanagan show.
You have some.
You should
treats
check it out.
ahead for you.
What?
Yeah.
Hill House is beautiful.
Yeah.
Never
They're
seen
great
Bly Manor,
interpretations
but,
of
um,
old
Bly
stuff.
Manor is fantastic. It's even better than The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay.
And also
I
there's
think they're both great.
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Like he goes beyond horror and he makes beautiful movies.
I never saw the
Romantic
other one. What was the
stories.
other
Midnight
series?
Mass?
Yeah, I never watched
You
that.
have to
Mass
watch
was
Midnight
so
Mass.
good.
It was
never
it's
ended up
That's the
fantastic.
one that won the awards.
It is so
I
good.
like Hamish Linklater from his role on New Adventures of Old Christine.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've
Yeah,
seen
he
that.
was the doofy brother on that.
Oh.
And, I don't know. I liked him on there, and I like that he's getting meatier dramatic stuff now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm going to kind of continue the somber train.
Somber train. I'm somber.
Philadelphia.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks and Antonio Banderas. Great. What? Why are you
Seems like
looking
such
at
a
me like
weird
that?
couple in my head.
Wait,
I've
you
never seen
you
it.
just spoke about Satan and his
Yeah.
Very
I
fair.
don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think you get to comment on anyone else's picks.
Very fair.
Yeah. Thank you, Simone. Thank you.
Just talking about appearance.
It's such a heartbreaking movie, but also almost uplifting. Tom Hanks it's been a very long time since I've seen the movie, but so I forget his character's name. But he ends up getting AIDS, and and Denzel Washington's character is the lawyer that helps Tom Hanks's character essentially sue the law firm that Tom Hanks was working for because they had fired him because he has AIDS. And the end of the movie is beautifully heart-wrenching because essentially, spoiler, if no one's seen the movie, so a spoiler right now, Tom Hanks is in the hospital and his character passes away from AIDS, and Antonio Banderas' character is just sitting on the hospital bed with him and holding him, and I'm in tears at the end of the movie because it's
That movie's sort of an interesting product of its time too, because it's
Yeah.
got a lot of problems.
It does.
In that, like, and the next movie I'm going to talk about has similar issues where it's like the two main characters are not gay men in real life.
Right.
And,
Right. Right.
And there's this moment where Denzel Washington gets hit on when he's at like a CD store or something like that.
It's a pharmacy.
That's it. And
Because his wife
First
is
off,
pregnant.
Getting
and
hit on at a pharmacy, that's already a
but
red flag.
he gets hit on by a man, and Denzel Washington basically like snaps at the guy, thinking how disgusting he is.
he like
Oh,
lashes
yeah?
out
And it's
at him.
all done from the perspective of, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, of, yeah, Denzel, good point.
Oh,
Like,
really?
It's and it's like really, it's like I said,
Well,
it's a product of the
this-
time. And
Yeah,
it's
the movie was made in like the early 90s.
92, 93.
Yeah. So it's definitely, it hasn't aged well,
Mhm.
but it's still, it's
So
just to
upon
get like
watching
the
it, you should understand
perspective,
the
like a
time
different
it was
perspective
made.
on what was going on is really,
And a very good like entry level
Oh, these are
for
close.
a society of straight white men that
Right.
need to learn, that's
Yeah.
where I think it was a very good thing.
right, yeah. And like the scene that really like made me sad the most was when Tom Hanks's character is in the library and he's sitting around a whole bunch of people and he's trying to do research on AIDS and the loss of employment, and Denzel Washington comes to talk to him, and it's people slowly start finding out, oh, he has AIDS, and they start getting up and walking away from sitting next to him.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awful, but a great movie nonetheless.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a heavy one. I never actually saw that movie,
it's a great movie.
but I know, I know what it is about, and I know how intense it is.
Killer Springsteen song.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Streets of Philadelphia.
You can
Oh.
always count on Jonathan Demme to bring the bangers on the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you talking about Dallas Buyers Club, or are you talking about Brokeback Mountain?
Neither.
Oh really? Oh, okay. I'm interested in that. Because I didn't really like either of those.
I just hate Leto's performance in Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's kind of ghoulish.
Oh,
I
yeah?
think they should have just gotten a trans woman for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. But I'll end it with, of course, Rue and Jules.
Let's go.
A couple that I love, but a couple that I think probably is better apart. I think that they're not good for each other. Hunter Schafer is an actual trans woman, and she plays a trans woman on the show. I think that's.
Is this Euphoria?
It is Euphoria.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's an important representative piece there.
And they give her input on
Oh,
Jules'
yeah.
storyline, and she wrote the special episode. With
Did she?
Jules.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
And it's so good and honest and refreshing to see. This
Yeah.
is an actual trans person's perspective, and
Yeah.
not what some white dude thinks
Yes.
trans women think.
Yeah. I thought both of those special ones were really very good. I didn't know that she wrote that one. But, Euphoria really just does it's a gut punch of a show. It's probably not the most accurate of stuff, but it does deal with some very heavy topics. And again, I think Rue and Jules are important for each other. Both of them need the other one to grow, and but I think ultimately that they're they're better apart, which hurts because I would love to see them.
Yeah,
end up
no,
together.
I was tearing up in
Yeah.
the season 2 finale.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that must have been a hard thing for Rue to do, to kind of say, no, but my sobriety needs to take a front seat now. Yeah.
Now I don't have to watch it.
Me neither. But
You should though. It's great.
Look,
I'm gonna.
even if just for like how the camera moves,
Oh, you-
it's
it
visually
is beautifully shot.
awesome.
Episode 1, Season 1 was devastating just because of you find out that bully guy has the dad who's like going to hotels to yeah.
I always like
Cal
there's so many like
Jacobs, one of
intense
our-
storylines that I always
One of
forget,
our
like,
craziest villains.
Yeah.
So once again, this is like in the world of, I think, movies made as entry-level LGBTQ movies for straight men. Blue is the Warmest Color, which is directed by a straight man, starring 2 women that are not lesbians,
And
it's the most sexually explicit movie.
yeah,
I
that
think.
Yeah.
director's had some things come out about him too.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
he's an
yeah.
odd duck, and like he had his next movie got just romped at Cannes. It was, I think it's called like Mektub, My Love, Part 1 and 2. And really, at this point, he's just an old man filming teenagers having sex, and he's not like
One of the actresses, because I read the graphic novel, I never watched the movie, but one of the actresses, I think the one who has like the blonde hair,
yeah.
she said that she was incredibly uncomfortable filming the sex scenes because of what he was demanding.
Yeah, he's
of
basically
them.
like, you can tell watching him that he's like, you know, lick a little more over there, kind of. It's really, there is something when you take a step back and you're like, I'm watching a straight man direct 2 women doing this, and all of a sudden it becomes super gazy.
Yeah.
If separating from all that, it is one of the most powerful what it's like to be young and in love for the first time stories I think I've ever seen. But I don't know if it can get over the hurdle of its problems. I think some movies probably just have to dissolve and disappear into the ether, and it may be one of them. But the performances are incredible. I use that word way too much in this podcast. The performances are very, very good.
you could use my favorite word, phenomenal.
Divine.
Divine.
I really
Satisfactory.
enjoyed the acting aside, not even talking about the sex scenes that you could basically fast forward through and you'd still be halfway done with them. They go on forever.
Wow.
But it's just the sense of what it's like to immediately, that we all had it, right? When we were like 18 and had like this moment where we saw someone and like almost couldn't control almost like the pain of seeing this person and knowing that we're not with the person. And it does a really good job of recreating, at least in my personal opinion, a really good job of recreating that sense of like, oh my God, I can't even handle myself.
Is that Monica Bellucci in that?
No, it's
Leah
Leah
Seydoux.
Seydoux, who
Yes.
you're talking about,
She's so
and
good. God, I
Oh,
love
James
her.
Bond's
and
girlfriend.
Adele,
Or
Yeah.
wife. No.
Adele
Did they
ex-
get married? No.
No,
No.
but she was in it.
Yeah.
She's the
Adele
one who had the blue
Exarchopoulos.
hair.
And who?
Oh,
Adele Exarchopoulos. She's from. She hasn't really broken over here in America, but she's very good.
Okay.
Anyway, got a lot of problems. Watch it with a sense of all the problems that the movie caused, but still there's a thread of like what being in love is, and it does it really, really well. But there's plenty of other movies that do too. Anyway.
All right, this is a movie for the braver of our watchers. If you want to get into something stranger and very different from like American Hollywood sensibilities, Tropical Malady by Apichat Weerasthakul. He's an openly gay Thai filmmaker. His biggest hit is probably Uncle Boon Me, Who Can Remember His Past Lives, and
Yes.
yeah.
That movie was amazing.
Oh yeah, Uncle Boon Me is some of the coolest stuff ever.
Yes.
He made this before that. This was his first like thing at cons, and it got a lot of walkouts, it got a lot of boos, but shockingly, Quentin Tarantino was a big champion of this film. But yeah, it's broken into 2 sections. And the first half of the film is about these 2 men who meet in like the Thai countryside, and they fall in love, and it's this really beautiful, like a little bit muted, but like very just warm and heartfelt story, and down to earth. But like there's these little bits of folklore that keep like cropping up here and there. And
Well,
like,
they have a very intense folklore, like
Yes,
superstition-based
yeah.
culture.
But it's really just beautiful, and like there's just scenes of like them like finding a dog on the side of the road who's hurt, and they bring him to the vet and just like see what they can do to help him out, and it's
Aw.
this really lovely relationship. And then somewhat suddenly halfway through the film, everything changes. It becomes like this entirely different movie about a man who's played by one of the men from the first one, hunting this like tiger beast in the jungle. And there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. You can see it as an echo of the first section, as sort of like the flip side of it, as a continuation even, but it ends up just building to such a beautiful, beautiful climax that's unlike anything I've seen, and just really something special. If it's not the easiest watch, it's a very slow-paced film, but if you're willing to try out something new, I highly recommend it. It's such a beautiful time. There's one line from the first section I think about a lot, where one of the guys gives the other a Clash tape, for the band The Clash.
Mhm.
And you just hear over voiceover like, "You gave me the Clash tape, and I gave you my heart." And God, it's such a lovely film. But
What
yeah,
happened
highly
to
recommend
making
it.
mixtapes?
Is it possible that I can amend my third movie?
His most recent film, Memoria, also highly recommend. See it if you can. One of the best things I've seen in theaters in a long time.
You can amend, Ben.
Yes.
if you like.
Supernova. Once again, it's a movie starring two actors that aren't gay men in real life. It's Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth, and they're on a road trip in England. And
Isn't Stanley Tucci gay?
No,
I
he's
don't
not.
think so.
No, he's
No.
not.
his wife.
Oh.
I mean,
yeah.
that doesn't really mean anything
Yeah,
these days, but
but-
like, yeah, he's
Oh.
at least he's presented as straight.
Oh.
But
It's funny that Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth, because like doing like, I only know them to be in like one movie together, and that was like, what was it, the Gentleman, or God, what was it? I can't think of it off the top of my head. It was the spy movie.
oh, Kingsman.
The Kingsman. Thank you. Sorry.
I didn't know Stanley
Tucci
Tucci was in that.
No, it's
Was he- was he
no,
in
it's Mark Strong.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
They sound so similar.
So
They do?
I don't know. I get the impression. I don't know. I'm thinking about somebody else then.
it's like
Colin Firth and sorry to
Colin
interrupt
Firth.
you.
No, please.
Yeah.
Colin Firth and Mark Strong were both in The Kingsman.
Yes, that's
I
true.
thought
Stanley
was in it.
Tucci was not in The
I
Kingsman.
thought he was. My bad.
Yes.
My bad.
you're being baldest.
Probably. Probably they've got the horn rim glasses and the bald.
This is like an incredibly like loving spiritual movie, and they're just the greatest couple I think I could ever imagine being together. But it's a story about like, you're about to lose the person in front of you, and they're right there talking to you, and it is somehow managed to be uplifting at the end, even though everything goes the way it's saying it's going to go. But it's a short movie. It's like an hour and 30 minutes, but it's a baseball bat, a wallop of an emotional experience. And it's gorgeous, and it's set in the countryside of England on their little Winnebago, and it's definitely watch it. So if you need to replace the third movie previously with that one,
Also,
I
Stanley
appreciate
Tucci
it.
was in The King's Man, which is the newest installment, but it didn't have Colin Firth in it.
Fine.
I was like, hold on.
Stanley Tucci does a lot of audiobooks too.
He does. He's
Yeah.
got a nice voice. So does the other guy.
Mark Strong, he's an amazing
Yes.
voice. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know who Mark Strong is.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Who's Mark
Did you
Strong?
see Rock and Roller?
No.
Did you
Did
see
you
the
see-
Why
first?
did you pick that
Did you see the
one?
first Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law?
I did not.
Okay.
Well,
did you
he's the
see
villain
Ridley
in that
Scott's
one.
Robin Hood?
I did not.
Okay. Did you see
Jesus Christ.
Body of Lies?
Yes.
He was Hani Salam. Never lie to me. Rescues Leonardo DiCaprio at the end.
This guy.
Oh, that
This
guy.
looks like
Okay.
Paul.
Look, you put a pair of horn rim glasses on the guy, and he
Exactly.
looks like Stanley Tucci to me.
No,
And
he
his nose
doesn't.
might be a little.
Okay.
It's the wide nose. I'm telling you, it's not baldest. It's you slap a pair of horn rim glasses on it, and it's Stanley Tucci.
Rock and Roller. What movie no one ever saw?
He was in 1917.
Oh, right. I do remember him from that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Got him.
Yeah.
Colin Firth was in 1917.
He was.
He
Sorry.
was, Yes.
Sorry.
Well, that was really
Sorry, I
loud.
wasn't right again. Sorry.
No.
I keep mixing them up. I'm sorry.
No, you're not mixing up Mark
No,
Strong
he
with
was-
Colin
Yeah,
Firth.
they were both in that
But
movie.
I kept saying Stanley Tucci and him
Oh,
were in the
okay.
movie.
Stanley Tucci was not in 1917.
No, he
No.
was not.
That was-
Sorry that I've caused this chaos, by the way.
No, you're fine.
One Italian American dude in 1917.
Yeah, right.
He's like cooking Italian food for everyone.
His documentary though on HBO is really great.
Yeah. His show on CNN is kind of exhausting and a little dreadful.
I think
CNN.
Which one is that?
Searching for Italy. And it's like they're trying so hard to make him the new Anthony Bourdain, but he just
Oh.
he's not.
that's just not a spot you can fill.
Yeah, and he's
I
not
mean-
exactly a people person. He's
Yeah.
like a high society person, and it's sort of like kind of like.
It's a celebrity.
Taste of Italy.
So was Anthony Bourdain, but he was.
Anthony
anyway, I
Bourdain
keep
was more
interrupting
like-
you now. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I think the one on HBO Max is called A Taste of Italy,
Mhm.
and it's really good. And so I don't know.
He owned a restaurant around here for a while too.
Oh, yeah?
My
He
mom
lives in
said it was
Bedford.
very delicious. Yeah.
Is he like a chef also?
I
Yeah.
think
Oh, I had no
he's just
idea.
into food. And,
And he lived in Italy for I think 2 years, a year.
Oh, I had no idea.
And
Yeah.
he has a home there.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's like, his show is fun, but at Anthony Bourdain, you had like a real experience of someone who's very unique in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, one of my buddies is a big Anthony Bourdain.
My stepfather's a huge
Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain.
He made us go to the documentary that came out within the
Roadrunner.
last year. Yeah.
Mhm.
But he made us go to like an 11 o'clock showing.
Oh no!
I fell asleep in the theater. I was like, we walked in. He was like, wasn't that great? I was like, amazing. Amazing.
Lie. Now you know.
I have to go set up for the gamers. I
Okay.
have to be the one that exits. I'm
Ben,
sorry.
thank you for coming back.
He is
Thank you,
excellent.
Ben.
Great
Let's
to have you
let's
back.
rehash that. Thank you for letting me back
Yeah.
because I just basically disappeared for 2 months, and I'm sorry.
It
Thank
happens.
you. But my other job, everyone's all trained up. So if you'll have me,
We'll always
back.
have
You're,
you.
you're always welcome
I
back.
guess.
thank
Yes.
you. And shout out to Katie's mom for approaching me at a
Yes.
coffee shop and telling me that she liked the podcast.
Woo!
Yes.
Katie's mom.
There was
Yeah.
another patron because Lou had a moment with a patron where she was like, "You're the Caffeinated Librarians," and then you had a moment with Katie's mom, and then I had a moment with the patrons. Are you one of the Caffeinated Librarians? I was like, "Yes, I am." She just, "You're awesome." I was like, "Thank you." So I was very excited.
Yes.
Let's not let the fame go
We're
to our
catching
heads,
on.
guys.
Bye.
Bye then.
Thank you.
Bye.
So I'll end my segment here with a manga that we actually have here in the library. It has an anime season getting a second season, and I've mentioned it before, called Requiem of the Rose King. Requiem of the Rose King blah, 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 is kind of loosely based off Shakespeare's Henry VI and Richard III, in which it's loosely based as it takes place during the time of the War of the Roses period, and it focuses on Richard, who is an intersex character who is considered to his mother a demon child and will bring the downfall of the family, and ultimately he kind of does. And I'm going to say he because of the fact that throughout the entire manga he is led to believe that he is a boy and must hide stuff like that, but until he starts to show, he starts growing breasts, it starts to kind of hit him more and more, and the relationships he forms, it's tragic, but at the same time, and it's still ongoing, and I know it's ending soon, but he falls in love with the King Henry. They meet in a forest, and Henry doesn't like violence, and he doesn't want to be the king, and he's forced to go through war, so he pretends to be a shepherd and gets lost in the forest, and that's how him and Richard meet, and Richard falls in love with Henry, and Henry vice versa. But ultimately Henry gets offed, and Richard is thrown for a loop, and ultimately is also fighting for the crown, and gets it through means of his other lover, Lord Buckingham, who is my favorite. He doesn't care that Richard is intersex. He loves Richard for who he is and wants to help him. He's a conniving, manipulative individual, but you can tell he's really sincere and possessive of Richard, and I love that dark, possessive relationship he has with him, because it's the only thing Richard has he's married, but he won't bed his wife
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't feel that way
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't want anyone to know his secret. And Buckingham is the only one who figured it out and has seen him for what he is and finds him utterly beautiful.
So what you like about this relationship is how possessive and manipulative
So
the
do you-
It's
person
not a
is.
Huh?
Hanagram?
Anagram?
Hannibal and Will Graham?
I do like that relationship.
How can you not, though?
I
Come
mean,
on.
it's set up in like when they first meet, you're like done.
Oh, you can feel that tension.
It's one of those things though where it's not completely toxic because you know that Buckingham genuinely like loves Richard, finds him beautiful.
It's only a little bit toxic.
It's only a
It
little
starts to
toxic.
get more toxic as time goes on because Richard has these expectations of a king. And so, like, when it comes to his wife, it's like, you know, she gives birth to a child, and everyone has to assume that that's Richard's kid, and he doesn't like, you know, he knows, and he keeps the secret, and he's basically kind of like a midnight lover kind of situation. He's always with him. He's the advisor. He's Richard's advisor.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also the only person other than Henry, but surprise, surprise, Henry's not really dead. So he just has amnesia and doesn't know who he is, but for some reason he remembers Richard just
Of
a little.
course.
And it's like, oh, and then all
Drama,
that starts happening. You're just like, drama. And you're like, what's gonna happen? And that's what I live for. I live for the.
Yes.
It's just that I feel like possessiveness, sometimes there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. It's like in You, the story of You, where the guy like kills people. I'm like, okay. This is like, it's the wrong kind of possessive, but this is possessive of which he shows jealousy that he can't have Richard to himself, and I enjoy. I like the darkness of the love because it shows passion, a different kind of passion to me. And I enjoy. That's why I don't like fluffy ones because fluffy love romances just don't do it for me. I'm like, I get it. It's been written 50 billion ways to another.
But I kind
love
of
seeing
agree
this
because that's why I never really liked Buffy and Angel. I thought they were just boring as all whatever.
It starts to get boring because
But
once you
Spike
have two
and
people
Buffy
who have a
was
fluffy love with
engaged.
each other, where's the story gonna go?
Exactly.
What's gonna happen? But if you have this evil, kind of like darker like love, and you see how far it goes, it's kind of like the struggles of the individuals,
Exactly.
and it causes so much trouble. And how are they gonna get out of these situations?
Exactly.
And I love it.
I'm just looking at Lou and Katie right now, and I'm dying.
Like that's why Will and Hannibal.
I'm just gonna put a small like live reaction from them.
Yeah, this is what I'm into. Okay,
But
this is what we're into.
But-
That's why I think
You
Will
guys
and
need to
Hannibal.
talk to somebody.
No, I don't. I know what I like. I know who I am. I'm true to myself.
You go, Amanda. You
Except
be
I'm not
true.
dating someone who's a possessive, and we're very mellow. This is where I'm like my fantasies here. I'm like, yes.
She draws the line.
I love Yakuza like romance stories too, because they're just gritty and bad, and I'm just like, yeah,
Pretty and bad.
yeah. I'm like,
That's what you're looking for.
but then they just, it's like, are they gonna sacrifice? Is he gonna sacrifice being the head of like the thing he's grown up being trained to be a part of,
hope
or
not.
are they gonna run away? Oh, but is he gonna die? What's gonna happen? You don't know. And I love it. I want to see the tears. I want to see the hate and anger.
So wait, you can't have tears, hate, and anger in a fluff romance?
You could, but it never. When you're reading like a graphic novel, it never goes that far. And then if it does happen, it's a 2-second thing. And then they're like, "No, baby, it was a misunderstanding." And then they're like, "Yay!"
You need to draw. You need the agony and the pain to be drawn out.
I was
a
only
bit
talking
more.
to her for 5 seconds, but you look so much better with her. And he's just like, "No, I only have eyes for you."
I
She's
don't
like,
think I've ever seen that happen in any media.
Shoujo
Amanda,
anime
you
does
are
that
making
all
this
the
up.
Well, now you're thinking about you're talking about one genre of media, Amanda.
Exactly. But it's like, I don't know, like with Heartstopper, it was nice. It was like wholesome.
The Heartstopper was really nice. And
Heartstopper was
It was
really
really nice. It was sickeningly nice to me.
Heartstopper was not. Okay, this is what I'm gonna just say.
Sometimes-
Heartstopper was nice.
Sometimes
I want
happiness
conflict.
is okay.
I want conflict.
There was conflict.
There will
Yeah.
be more conflict when it goes on, and that's what I liked more because you had the beginnings of it. But as soon as people get together and like animes
there's no
or like
pleasing
shows,
her.
it's
Yeah,
like
no.
it
It's just
kind of
no
feels like
pleasing her.
that's it.
Yeah.
And then they focus on other characters.
Unless somebody's being dragged away by a demon or something, she's not.
I mean, monsters.
Goodness. So thanks for watching. You want to pull us out?
Someone could pull us because I'm like.
So that's the end of our episode celebrating Pride Month. We hope that you join us again in spite of what Amanda just said. And bye, everybody!